Good morning, everybody. I think we're live now, and welcome to another breakfast run. Your host, me, JP Warren, and I hope y'all can hear me okay out there. If y'all can, just chime in and say hello, say good morning, where everyone's tuning in from. I think we're up and running right now, and I got these new microphones. So I want to make sure everyone can hear me properly, and I'm working on that now, but. In a true breakfast run fashion, we're definitely bringing it back today this morning. It was a beautiful Wednesday morning. We're definitely bringing it back old school because standard breakfast run, you have a meeting with an operator, sure enough, they text you at 7:59 saying they're a few minutes behind. So we're waiting on Yousuf Chaudhary, the executive vice president over at Atlas Operating, to show up whenever he feels like it. So thanks, Yousuf, for leaving everybody hanging around. Let's see what's going on over here. Let's take it to the board. All right, I'm just checking the live feed right now on Link. Okay, we've got some people chiming in. I dig that. Let's see who's chiming in from. Brandon Webb. Good morning from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hey, can everyone hear me? Okay. Like, I want to make sure these are legit, and if I need to do something with it, I want to make sure I can fix it for everyone out there, all the viewers out there. Good morning, Brandon. How are you, buddy? We got John McLean, looking forward to this breakfast run. Yeah, so am I if it happens. But then again, that is old school Oilfield. We're waiting on the operator to get here. Come on, man. I'm sure he's in a busy morning meeting. All right, let's see what we got. We got Casey Stout. JP, good morning. Hear you loud and clear from Willis, Texas. Man, I dig that. Hope you're enjoying this beautiful morning with a cup of coffee. We got Luke, good morning from Pittsburgh, PA. What's going on in Pittsburgh? I think the weather's been changing up there. We got Roy Strong, good morning from Pearland. I guess your Midland adventure is wrapped up and concluded. All right. Roy Strong, typical Yousuf Chaudhary, late, exactly. I love it. Tuning in from the Permian Basin International Oil Show in Midland. Keith Stelter's been crushing it out there. I think he did probably about 6 different interviews back to back. I mean, he's doing some great content. Him and his team, David Gibson out there, and who else out there? Matt Hill, Kevin Lavin, all of them, Jason Spees are crushing it out there on this new podcast. I guess it's a podcast room where they're bringing all these different podcasters and kind of sharing Oilfield stories. So I'm really digging it. A little Roy knows, a little road noise. Well, hey, that's part of it. We're live. We're live in Houston, Texas. So I'm digging that. You sound far away from the mic. Okay. Maybe if I clip it up here, that might be a little bit better. That might just be a little bit better. All right. What else we got? John Renfro, good morning. Big win last night. Yes, it was. What's up from the 90s? Random. I'm not sure who that is, but I dig it. All right. Austin Bryan, good morning. 8. Keeps it 8 back-to-back. All right. Justin Brignac, one of my favorite Brignacks. Shout out from the PBIOS. Don't get me wrong, I love all the Brignacks. Gotta shout some out. Austin Lewis. Woo. All right, I dig it. Go Stros. All right, and John Simmons. Wish I was at the PBIO, but some big meetings kept me in Houston. Enjoy. I dig it. Well, I guess I'm just gonna start winging it. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I might introduce kind of what I've been doing recently. I mean, you kind of a lot of phone calls and fielding a lot of meetings lately. Pretty much asking me what I've been doing lately. There's like, are you over here? You energy funders anymore? Are you over here? So pretty much I started my own company called Connection Crew. And Connection Crew is literally, it's just kind of putting you in the right room with the right people. And it's, David Gibson, morning, JP. Good morning, David. How you doing, buddy? Well, pretty much I saw kind of throughout COVID, I saw a need for networks to be expanded. I think the Oilfield service side did a tremendous job. The people that kind of adapted and kind of got out there and evolved, and just thought of new ways to get out there. I thought they did a tremendous job expanding their networks. But one area of a muscle, I guess, an industry muscle that needs to get worked out is for people to kind of get outside their bubbles, whether that's operators, whether that's service side, to get out of your circles and kind of meet new people. And I've really enjoyed bringing the right people in the right room and connecting different people, and whether you're operator, service side, private equity side, and it's been real fun. And the one thing that I've noticed on the operator side is that operators have their select group of people that usually work with, right? That's their bubble. That's their networks, and I get why they're not going to industry happy hours and stuff like that, because when they go there, they're all constantly chum in the water, trying to get the sales pitches and all that stuff, which I get. It's our industry. So it was one of those things where, during COVID, I had a couple people reach out asking me for connections here, connections there. And I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, man, I mean, I would figure y'all would know someone there. I mean, same, you have the same acreage, pretty much border each other. I mean, same area. So bringing people in the right room, bringing different operators in the right room, you start getting this knowledge share. You start getting best practices. You start having these genuine conversations that actually bring people together. And I just realized that's an opportunity for our industry to increase the operators networking outside their bubble. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I just launched a little group called Crew Club, and that's an operator-heavy attended networking events, and as well as Connection Crew. That's what we kind of do. I mean, if it's something that you're having difficulties getting in front of the right people or establishing those relationships, that's what we do. We set stuff up, and it's also a good time. So that's what I'm digging it. So let's see what's going on. So anyway, so that's kind of what I've been doing lately, and it's been fun. It's been challenging. Kind of, I've always preached, step out on your own and follow your passion. And at 41 years old, yes, I still rent a home at 41. I decided to do it. I decided to get out and follow my passion, support my wife and my friends and my customers and everyone in between that I've spoken to. It's been real rewarding, anxiety-driven, a lot of self-doubt. But at the same time, it's kind of coming to fruition. So it's an exciting time for me. It's exciting to, again, bring more people, make our industry just a little bit more smaller, which is something that we need right now with everything going on in the world and our industry and all that stuff. So what else? Okay, well, I guess we're going to plug the sponsorship for this breakfast run is Royal Completion Tools. And if there's any questions about sponsorships for the breakfast runs, please shoot me a message, DM me, and I'd love to chat with you about it. But love the people over at Royal Completion Tools. Just wrapped up a podcast with Ethan Etzel. And it was great people over there. Great people over there. So let's go ahead and bring the commercial in, and I hope y'all enjoy. Stand by. And hey, if you sponsor, you might get a little commercial too. That's the best part. So here you go. Thank you to Royal Completion Tools.
To all you completion engineers, company men, and consultants out there, are you sick and tired of losing sleep over frac plugs not getting to depth, not holding pressure, or not drilling out properly? Or maybe you aren't getting the best quality and service from the bigs. Well, stop burning the midnight oil and rest at ease while using Royal frac plugs, the most reliable and efficient frac plug on the market. Start your successful completions today by getting in touch with Royal Completion Tools. You can contact them via www.royalcompletiontools.com, sales@royalcts.com, or via LinkedIn. Contact them today to check out some of the best frac plugs out there.
So, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that the last person that stuck his two thumbs, that was CGI. All right, he actually didn't lose a thumb. That was just CGI. So we went high budget on that commercial. So I want to thank my daughter for filming that and dealing with Daddy. Again, if you haven't checked out Energy Crew podcast, check it out. I just released another episode. I think I've been doing it for about 2-3 months now and already have about 28 episodes in. It's been great conversations, and it's churning them out so much. It's tough to stay on top of it. So for those of you tuning in to Energy Crew podcast, I appreciate it. And the format for that is kind of like breakfast runs. We're just kind of shooting the bull back and forth. No agenda, no script, no prep work. It's just kind of a casual conversation and seeing where it goes. But let's see what else. I'm just kind of on stage right now, burning time until the operator shows up. I'm sure many salespeople have been in that boat before. So I guess what I can talk about now is, until he comes, several themes that I've been seeing lately that I've been having discussions with throughout our industry on the podcast and off the podcast. Thanks, Austin. The crews, the bee's knees, keep killing it, bro. I'm trying to, man. So speaking of that, I guess some of the things that we discussed, kind of common themes going on hot topics right now, besides the energy crisis, besides all that stuff, I guess it's on a more personal level is, number one is mentorship. All right, mentorship has been spoken about. I'm trying to see if that was him. That's not. I guess the thing is, mentorship right now is a hot topic, right? I mean, there's a lot of people right now that can reflect on their career path, about the mentorships that really inspire them, impacted their lives in a positive manner. Whether it's personal, whether it's professional, mentorship. It's huge. It's huge in our industry just because there's so much knowledge to gain. We got Popo coming. There's so much knowledge to gain, so much knowledge to learn, and unfortunately, with everything going on right now in the industry, with all the layoffs, with everything like that, and the consolidation, the synergies, if you will, knowledge transfer is a big deal. It's a big issue. So I can reflect back in my early career who my mentors were. You know, Carrot Payton, Kirk Atkinson, Bubba Smith. However, I think this is him pulling in right now. However, we are in a time right now where we need to be reflecting. We need to be reflecting on who we're mentoring personally, and I think it's important to continue to actively seek out maybe those that need a little mentorship, need a little guidance, need a little advice. And I think Yousuf just pulled up. So everyone, let's be willing to give him a hard time this morning. All right, I'm just gonna set him up a little bit. All right. Hey, well. Hey, we got a hot mic right now. Let me suit you up, buddy. All right. Let's do this. Let's put this right.
Can I get a coffee?
I don't know.
Am I allowed to get a coffee?
What does everyone think? Should Yousuf be able to get a coffee?
My name is Caffeine Poppy.
Okay. I think Caffeine Poppy should get a coffee. Oh, also, I forgot to mention when we're streaming this, we're at Clutch City Coffee, the #1 best local coffee shop. And what's cool about this, it's Oilfield related. Good buddies. You know Marshall Brown?
I know.
All right, so Marshall Brown, go get a coffee, dude.
I'm still
Wasting time. So Marshall Brown and his wife, Lex, started Clutch City Coffee. They're from Anchorage, Alaska, and they realized there was no drive-through coffee spots in Houston. So during the summer, they launched this coffee shop. They opened this coffee shop, and as you can see, the Astros colors. So what better place to go live right now? And so anyway, they opened it about 4 months ago, and just because they saw a passion, they have a passion for drive-through coffee. And again, follow that passion, or at least find out what that passion is. And within 4 months, they were rated best local coffee shop of 2021. So hats off to those, to that everyone here, the whole team here. It's been excellent coffee, obviously, and I dig it. So let's see. William, good morning. William, congratulations to you. I think you just got announced or elected to be on the board. I forget which group that was, man. Congratulations. You've been doing some great things the past couple months. I'm digging that.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning from the Woodland, fellas. Let's hear some great topics. All right, so obviously we got some background noise right now, okay? All right, let's flip this up like this. I don't know how to do it properly. This is new technology.
Hold up.
Okay, I dig that, a little bit too close. So, all right, we're gonna hear some great topics today. And Yousuf, first off, Yousuf, why are you late? Why are you making everyone and myself wait?
I really want to lie and be like, man, I was closing business deals and this and that. If I'm being honest, my 2-year-old woke me up.
What time?
At 4 a.m.
Okay.
He kept me up through like 6:30ish.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna get up and start going, right? Around like 6:30. And then I was like, all right, but man, I have like a few minutes. I can lay back down. And then I laid back down, and it was 7:40 when I opened my eyes again.
So,
and I was like, oh shit.
You know what's funny? It's like, if I wake up super early, like 4 a.m., I'm like, all right, let's go get it. If I close my eyes for 30 minutes or an hour, I am groggy throughout the entire day. I don't know what that is.
You can kind of see it on me right now.
I think you look great.
Thanks, man.
I think you look great.
Thanks, man. I come rolling in, and I was like, I even Google Maps it. What's the fastest way to get here?
And?
I'm still late.
What way can I get there at 12 minutes late when it's scheduled a week in advance at 8 o'clock?
You know what? It's 100% egg on my face. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize to me.
I apologize to the grateful listeners and the people who put up with this guy, to be honest.
Put up with me. First off, I think it's kind of the same game.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. People don't. I don't know. I haven't really heard much from the Little Money crew.
What do you mean?
Thank you so much.
Oh,
very kindly. Hey man, I gotta get myself going.
I get it. Thank you. Thank you. What service? What friendly service?
Fantastic
City
service.
Coffee.
Fantastic service. And they give a very heavy espresso shot, so cheers.
Cafe Poppy. Cheers to you, buddy.
Cafe Poppy. Last time we did this, me and you got together. We were supposed to be together for, what was it, like an hour, 2 hours?
Oh.
And we ended up
Closing the bar. Not only that, we were late getting home, right? And what we did for our wives, we stopped at a gas station. And,
actually, you did this. This was your genius idea. I'm not going to take away from you.
well, stopped at a gas station, picked up some gas station flowers, some gas station roses for our spouses. So, our better halves, if you will, for putting up with us. So, that's a good move.
That was a
good
very,
time.
that was a fantastic time. I remember waking up in the morning or going home, and I was just like, one. And then waking up in the morning, I was like, man, that motherfucker JP.
It was a good time.
It was a good time, but the morning after, I felt it.
Yeah, I felt it the morning to the afternoon after.
Oh yeah.
It sticks with you a little bit longer the older you get. You know what I mean?
Right?
My wife's always like, oh my God, how can you do these, hurt from the night before? I'm like, well, first off, I'm Oilfield. I've been doing this for a long time. Second off, you just got to play hurt.
You just got to play hurt.
Just got to play hurt and push through it.
That's exactly what happened. I think I had like a 7:30 meeting. So I was sitting there and I'm just kind of like, yeah, guys, yeah. And I had to like put on the brave face. Because a few people do, they're like, you went out the night before, right? And I'm just like, yeah, but it was just a casual night out, right? And it was a casual night out until it wasn't.
Well, it was, you know what, that's what happens when you put you and me at the same table together. It's always a good time.
We cupided these two lovebirds. You remember that?
Yes.
These two guys were on the first, not two guys, a girl and a guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that if it was two guys.
We're all right.
But they were on their first date. They recognized JP. I got very upset. I said, "Do you not recognize me?" And
It's always a competition with you.
it was. And I think I started walking around the entire bar, just asking people, "Who's taller, me or you?" And you were obviously taller than me. And I think one girl said, "No, it's close." And I was like, "You know what? Thank you."
We had to go back to back.
We had to go back to back.
So let's tell the story about the lovebirds, and let's kind of get kicked into the regular stuff we're going to talk about, and let's get back on these tapes. So tell us the story about the lovebirds.
So me and you were we were just walking around. We are just like, you know what? Weather was nice. Let's go sit on the patio. We go sit on the patio. We're having our cocktails, and sure enough, these two people. They're just like, hey, are you the guy that does a podcast? Like, he recognized you.
Well, name the podcast. You're gonna just say it, bro.
And I don't think he named the podcast.
No, I knew it was Energy Crew.
Okay, never mind. All right. Okay, I don't remember this. It was many moons ago, and then I was like, hey, do you recognize my podcast? And he's like, nah, man, sorry, I don't recognize you at all. And I'm just like, you know what? Screw you. You know what? I hope this doesn't work out between you. And I didn't say that, but then I kind of I was already in a good mood, so I was like, all right, well, check out. And he was like, yeah, I'll check out my podcast or your podcast too. And then I was just like, so what are you guys doing here? And then they're just like, well, we're just hanging out. And then I think it was me or you, and I was like, this is a first date. And then they were just like, they started blushing, and then you and I were like, hey, let us buy you a round. And they were very much like, no.
No, we don't accept drinks from stranger danger.
I mean, honestly, I felt like we were the best looking guys there. I don't know why they didn't, but
well, you know what? Look, I think going to permission is a tough first date spot. Always, my first date spots are always like off the beaten path. You know what I mean?
Really?
When I date, yes, because that way you're comfortable. There's not too much stuff going around.
Yeah.
They're uncomfortable. You want a little bit uncomfortable, but you want to be more comfortable than they are.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I would. I always, every time I've been to like a Brazilian steakhouse or like going to eat wings, I always tell my wife, I'm just like, you know what? This would be a great first date spot just to see.
A Brazilian steakhouse?
Yeah, because they give you so much food, and a girl generally. So when me and my wife were dating, every day, like she would order like a salad and eat half. And I would be sitting there and I'd be like, yeah, give me like the 24-ounce rib. And I was just accustomed to her just eating nothing. So I was like, okay, she's a girl, this is what they eat, whatever. We get married, literally, even through the engagement. This is how she's eating. We get married. I mean, the day after we're married, we go to Ruth Chris, and I'm just like, salad, do this, and she's like,
Should have a side salad with lemon vinaigrette.
yeah, and she's like, no. She gets a bone and rib on
You're
it.
married to me now. But
Yeah, and just polishes the whole thing. I mean, it's gone. And I'm just like, what the hell? I'm like, I just feel like it's got the bait and switch moment. And she's this little old thing. And I'm just like, how did you finish that whole thing? And she was just like, yeah, man. She was just like, you're on the hook now.
What are you gonna do about it
Yeah,
now?
what are you going to do? And I'm just like, yeah, man,
Let's get one to go.
That's exactly what it was. So me and her always joke that you should take your first date to go eat wings or something that's a little bit more messy or a little bit more
I feel like
filling.
ribs would be the worst. Ribs or a good French dip would be like the worst thing to order on a first date, but those are some of my favorite things.
Good French dip.
A good French dip.
Incredible.
I think the French dip and Reuben are probably the best sandos, top sandos.
You know what? Does Reuben have pastrami or corned?
I think it's pastrami.
Okay, then it's good.
Yeah.
I'm a pastrami guy. I don't like corned beef. I realize I don't like corned beef.
Is that just because you just don't dig it? Is it an Irish thing?
I don't know. It's an Irish thing. I hate Irish
It's
pizza.
an Irish thing.
I hate.
Yeah.
It's the way they look.
JP stands for James Patrick, so that's a good thing. No Irish people are sitting around here. So, all right. So look, let's get into this. Let's talk a little shop. Then I obviously want to shoot the show because I love talking to you. Obviously.
Dude, we could talk literally. We could talk for like 6 hours. We
This is
just
like
seen it.
well, the best part about this is literally only the fourth time you and I hung out in person.
It's funny when you meet people and you just kind of
We click.
you just know
Synergies.
synergy.
You just click. All right, so let's get this Oilfield banter going right now. So obviously, we've got a lot of people tuning in from the Permian Basin International Oil Show. You hear about that?
I didn't get an end.
That followed up the Digital Wildcatters Energy Tech Night, and
Okay.
then the PBIOS has been going on for the past couple of days. I think since yesterday, and it wraps up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know. No, but
I
really,
wish I was good.
really is pretty huge.
So I'm gonna be honest. Maybe I'm just gonna claim ignorance. I didn't know what was happening.
Dude, that's the thing though, like, there's a lot of stuff happening that I'm still not aware about. Like, obviously you got AED Casino Night coming up, I'm looking forward to that. You got Oil and Gas, the Social Octane party coming up.
I got an invite to that. I don't know what it is.
Monica and I are going.
What is it?
It's just a big event. So it supports the Orphan Wells Project.
Okay.
It's something that Social Octane, Mark LaRue, is very passionate about. It's Mark LaRue, but I'm studying French, so it's LaRue.
Who?
Yeah, LaRue.
I think I've connected with him on LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, great guy,
so, yeah.
great guy. Good, they're doing good things. So there's a lot
Handsome
of,
fellow, isn't he?
he is a very handsome fellow. Yeah, I had him on the Energy Crew podcast coming up. But like, that's the thing. There's so many, and that kind of ties into Connection Crew. Good plug, by the way.
There it is.
I didn't even script that, but there's so many different events right now, and there's a lot of great events. You know, Fin for Feather is coming back. Can't wait for that. Casino Night's coming back. Can't wait for that. But you know, there's this PBIOS coming up. There's this World Petroleum Congress coming. See,
This
that's
is
the thing.
why people need you.
That's the thing, though. There's so much going on. It's like, okay, so where do you maximize this? Where do you do this? And it's like, I don't know. That's kind of what it's like. What I'm trying to do is kind of cut through the noise and make it more valuable than more showy, if that makes sense. But I think, honestly, I love all these events. I think people still need to be talking, getting together. I'm really digging it. But this is just more of a boutique, intimate setting.
Yeah.
So it's because relationships go.
I like this, dude.
So what's going on in your world? Talk to me. So we got oil floating around, what, $82? Gas is kind of creeping down, but it's fine.
It's fine.
Winter's
It's definitely
coming.
fine.
So again, this is
Winter's coming.
Yousuf Chaudhary, the executive vice president over at Atlas Operating. And so where do you got activities going on right now? Give us a little background. Let's talk about kind of what you're seeing
All right, so
on your side of the table.
let's see. Atlas Operating, frankly, and I'm not just gonna give this to us. Anybody in the industry right now who took 2020 and negative $37 and just said, listen, this isn't gonna last. We're an industry that's gonna survive this. We've survived this many times, maybe not negative 37, but
Right.
you know, this is just an ebb and flow of what's gonna happen, right? Things are gonna go back up, and I don't want to say that we had some sort of foresight or something, but we really just believe truly that things are going to go back up. I never thought it was going to go to 80. Everybody thought it was going to be like 100 this time. I thought it was going to cap out at 73, 74.
Okay.
And it was going to come back down between a 53 to a 65.
So this is kind of where you're making y'all's plans right now with your mind frame of, okay, it's going to be around 73, 64. Let's plan for this.
That's exactly what, at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
when it was $52, but see, I'm really conservative when it comes to how I peg my deals and stuff like that. So let's say oil's at $50.
Okay.
Right? I'm running all my strips, all my decks at $40.
Okay.
Because I have to have that window, because then there's differentials with what you get in oil, or with your oil sales, and then it's the market. It's you really don't know what's going to happen, right? So I'm over here thinking like, what's the worst case that can happen? I mean, obviously a $10
window,
window. It's not the worst case that can happen, but it's essentially we're gambling, right?
And that's also a great indicator of like if that does drop that $10 in a relatively brief time when you're planning all that stuff, that means it's probably darker times coming.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps you kind of adjust quicker if you see that window close.
Yeah.
Okay.
So us as private EMP operators and as other private EMP operators and even some larger companies, I've seen them. We're like a speedboat, right? Other people are like cruise ships. When it takes them a turn, it takes them forever. When we have a turn, we're just like this, right? When we saw negative 37, or when we saw the downtick going,
right?
It was a matter of all hands on deck, turn everything off, right?
Okay.
Or just don't touch anything, don't sell the oil. Everybody just moves so quickly in our company, right? And if you're a small EMP, that's the way it should be. I noticed there's a lot of smaller EMPs right now, or through the past, let's say 2 or 3 years, that wanted to act a lot bigger than they were, beat their chests, and
right.
Oh, we're like this, and we're like this, we're like this. No, man. I mean, most of them are private equity backed, and we're not private equity backed, so it was our own family money that was going into it, right? So we have real skin in it, so we're like, you really care when it's your money. It's kind of like, I hate to use the example, it's like a rental car. I don't really treat rental cars all that great.
I treat rental cars like they're stolen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
right?
Grand Theft Auto in me.
So that's where I'm like, you know what? It's private equity money. It's not your money. You don't care as much. What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? The private equity fund will just roll you down and they'll sell the asset. Right. That's it. Right. Then once they make the return, and they've already modeled for if they don't make the return. They know what they're getting themselves into. So we didn't have that. So we're over here thinking that, all right. And then as soon as you have an NCAP or somebody else, no hate to anybody in private equity. As soon as you have a big major name like that, or anybody in private equity backing it, you just already kind of feel like you're bigger than you really are.
Okay.
And it's just kind of a mentality.
It kind of clouds decisions.
I think so. I personally think so.
You feel like you have something to prove. It's more of you're making decisions more based on like, okay, let's try to prove something now versus, hey, let's take a breath, let's be a little bit still, and let's think about this.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like a private equity model is like, hey, you have to drill X number of wells and you have to hit this number of return for us. And if you hit this, great. And then we're going to sell anyway.
Right.
And then you can take your piece, whatever that looks. That's the best case scenario. Best case scenario rarely happens. I know maybe a few operators here in town, smart young guys like ourselves, that have,
young?
Yeah. Oh, they are pretty. We're pretty young.
Okay, I'll take that.
Dude, you're a young guy.
I'll take that.
Early
I
20s?
act young. Thank you. Yeah, I already. While you were okay, I was thinking 41. I rent a home.
Dude, you're 41?
I'm 41. Yeah.
I always thought you were like 34. I'm not even fucking lying right now. Would you like to cuss me?
I don't care.
Okay, all right.
I think if you tune in to me, you might get a little shit here, you might get a little this there, you might get a little this. But I mean, it's you and me. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's not Howard Stern in the early '80s. It's not like we're getting slapped with fun. So anyway,
yeah,
keep going.
Exactly. So, I've seen some of these young guys take the model because they were ex-private equity.
Right.
They were like, all right, we've seen this, we know it works, we know it makes the private equity guys click, and they go in and they make their returns and they get out, right? And they know where to be strategic about it. But the older oil and gas operators, the guys who've been around the oil field for the past 30, 40 years, who are just like, listen, this is our last hurrah, and we just need
one more bid.
$30, $40 million, and they go grab it from somebody, and then they go flip it. It never ever works.
Right.
So I would honestly say, I hate to say this, but it's a young man's game. Because more of the older operators, they're going either out of business, they're fatigued, they're just like, we don't know how to keep up with this shit.
That kind of happened overnight too. It kind of went from an industry heavily relying on the previous generation, which I love the previous. I think the previous generation makes the personality of our industry. You know what I mean? I love it.
I absolutely agree. So I went to the petroleum club, not to go off on a tangent, in Calgary. And Calgary And I've asked him this, and I'm like, are women not allowed in the girls' club? And he's like, no. It's like, everybody's allowed. So this guy is drinking soup, like, or eating soup, drinking soup.
Right.
Cold soup. He can barely get the spoon to his mouth, and he's just sitting there, probably like 130 years old. And he's like, he's talking to this guy across the table. And he's
One
like,
more boom.
you know what he said? He's just like, you know what I love about this place? He's just like, I love that they don't allow women in here. That's exactly what he said. And I was sitting next to him, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man. I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, leave that alone. And then I saw many women around, and there just wasn't that many. And I was like, that's, in my mind, that's what I think of the old school oil field, which is, I think you have to know the oil field to find that endearing, because honestly, I'm not a misogynist.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
I'm not racist. I'm not homophobic. I'm not any of those things.
Me neither.
And yeah, neither are you. But I think me and you can appreciate that guy for what he was.
Well, first off, I don't think that's. I think
he's not the norm.
I think that guy is probably the 2 generations above us. You know what I mean? Like he started off with Colonel Drinkswell throwing shade.
No, I think you're right.
So wait, so you were going to go down a good point. So pretty much the ability in this day and age to be quick to a decision, to execute on a plan, pretty much on a day-to-day basis, that is probably a great key to success. If you're a smaller private equity or family-owned company, that's probably a good key to success.
Dude, that and keeping your costs down.
Well, how do you keep your costs down besides beat the vendors up?
You beat the vendors up.
Oh.
You beat the shit. No, I'm not. I'm just
one of these guys.
Dude, if any oil and gas operator ever says, "Oh, we don't beat the vendors up," they're just lying.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody beats the vendors up. However, there's so many ways where you can trim the fat, like little things.
But the devil's in the details.
The devil is in the details. And I actually took this page out of. I don't like the guy, Tillman Fertitta.
Okay.
But man, that guy, the way he saves money. So when he bought, this is a perfect example. When he bought Rainforest Cafe for $120 million, what is it, 10 years ago now? He got rid of the live bird exhibit. It saved him over like $200,000 a year at all the locations. And he's like that. Oh, with that $200,000, what he did was he started adding bigger portions of fries. Little details like that. He's like, and that was only like a $40,000 game. But that brought in a much larger crowd, right? He took Rainforest Cafe, which was a dying franchise at that time.
Oh, God. I just feel like there's spiders everywhere in there.
You know what? I've never been to one.
I've walked through one.
I want to go.
I
really
just
want to go
walked through to use the restroom one time with the gallery.
I really want to go to one.
Pretty good. Okay. We should double date there.
I'll do it, dude. Let's double date at Rainforest Cafe.
Monica, if you're listening, you got a double date coming. Fancy double date.
Dude, fancy double date, man. Bring it out to the
So
Sunday best.
this concept of the devil's in the details, right? So where other I guess where do you, besides beating the vendors up and all that stuff, where are you seeing an opportunity?
So
for this,
from a cost saving perspective, it's always internal. It is always internal, right? It's always this little stupid stuff. Like what I noticed for us is that you always go back and like chemical companies. I'll give a perfect example, right? Wells need chemicals,
right?
But 95% of the time, what I've seen, there's always too much. If you go to the well site yourself, which I will do, my team will do, there's always way too many chemicals on site.
And that's
And I'm just like, okay, we don't need all that. Cut that down. Let's say you're spending $100,000 a month on chemicals. Now you're spending $70,000 a month.
that matters.
And that matters. And it goes all the way down to, cell phones. Like we probably have, I think across the company, like our Verizon account probably has 200 cell phones on it. And out of those 200 cell phones, if I go down to the details, about 50 of them are just stupid new cell phones, right? Just fuel hands that are, streaming porn probably for all I know, right? Like their data usage is through the roof. If you start managing that stuff,
Watching the Astros. Hey, go Stros.
Go Stros. Club City Coffee, go Stros. It's stuff like that where you kind of watch it. Gas usage, diesel usage. Like you can just tell like little stuff. It kind of comes back to you have to kind of pay attention. And I think now our operation is big enough. Oh,
Hold on. Talk.
Hold on.
Gotcha.
Our operation is big enough now where we don't care. I don't want to say we don't care as much. We don't watch as much on that little stuff. Like, if we're spending I used to pay attention to, like, if we're spending like
Keep talking.
too much on coffee, right? Is it my
No, it's not you.
my
It's
flimsy
me.
shirt?
It's not you, it's me. Go on.
That's what I thought.
So if you're spending too much on coffee, I'm sure it's community coffee.
Exactly.
Oilfield.
So we used to do stuff like that, right? So I used to pay attention, like, if I could get community coffee instead of Folgers or instead of Starbucks, like,
Right.
forget that, right? Like, I'm saving this much money. Now, I think we're at a place where we're just like, you know what? Let's binge on the Starbucks. It gives a happier employee, have snacks in the break room, stuff like that, right? Like, have sodas and stuff like that. It has a happier employee, you have a better end product.
Well, what I
You're
dig
spending more money, though.
Well, what I dig about that, though, I mean, that's a good point. Obviously, people kind of look, I don't even know if it's the right word, definition, but beyond their desk. You know what I mean?
Oh,
To cut costs. Okay, well, let's get this cheaper. Let's get this service cheaper. Let's try to get 20%. I got this bid coming over here, 10% less than this. But you're actually kind of taking a step back to, whoa, what are we doing
Some
in
things
our
are-
operations to reduce costs?
Some things are like, you don't like the coffee, you drink things. So I drink the shit ton of coffee.
Right.
I love espresso. The guys in our office love espresso, right? So I have a fridge in my office that, like, I always have, like, I think actually Roby Jacob gave me some Red Bull, which I don't drink. Hate you, Roby.
I love Roby. I had him on last Friday.
Dude, I love
Talked
Roby.
for 2 hours.
Dude, that guy is one of the funnier little brown men I've ever met.
Funny, just we talked for 2 hours, dude. I thought
He's a cool dude.
Really is.
He's a really cool dude. So he brought me Red Bull, and I'm like, I don't drink Red Bull, but I have it in my office. So now I actually noticed there's employees, like, we're drilling the well right now. And there's our engineers like, man, if we just had Red Bull, I'm like, I got you. And I had it in my fridge. I wanted to just come to my fridge and just grab them. So I'm like, you know, I didn't realize people like energy drinks. So I started ordering energy drinks for a while. Right? So I'm just like, all right, well, I have Red Bull. It's little stuff like that dude, it was a Red Bull. And I remember the engineer, when he held it, he was just like, this is going to save my life tonight. Because, I mean, it's a 24-hour operation. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, dude, take as many as you need, right? And I'm over there like, I'm like, dude, order dinner. I'm like, order the cup. I'm like, do whatever, like, you know.
Be happy. You're
Be
away
happy.
from your family.
Exactly.
You're away from your family. I want to compensate for that.
Exactly, right? And those little things matter a lot. So we've had people who work for us that I've seen that have had offers. They've showed me the offers for much better positions. I mean, a lot more money. And for me,
Yeah.
most of the time, money is king, right? Like, I don't want to say, like, I really enjoy the, like, you know, working with people.
Well, the name of your podcast is Oil Money.
Exactly,
Podcast.
right?
Sorry, y'all's podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, Donnie Davis.
Yeah.
I love you more than he does.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's probably travel like that. But that little stuff where, like, you know, saving on the, or not saving on the, you know, taking care of the employees, them not being a number, they're just like, listen, we really don't care to take this because we enjoy working here, because it's a much larger scheme than just the, you know, the more pay or this and that. Because a few of the guys, they went and worked for majors, and they've actually come back, and they're just like, man, I'm sorry, we don't have a place for you anymore because we weren't going to roll. But they left. They were making great money here, but they were just like, our end goal is to go work for a major, Exxon, Chevron,
Yeah,
whatever,
be
right?
manager.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And then they go there, and they're just like, we absolutely hate it here because this is all we're allowed to do. And if we try to go here, yeah, they're just like, hell no, just go back to your home, right?
So obviously keeping employees happy is and that's the thing, man. My career, I've gone from bigger company to bigger company. I've trickled down. I love smaller fields. I mean, you're not pigeonholed. You can work on multiple projects. The relationships are better. I feel it's more of a teamwork, and,
Oh, yeah.
and the drama starters in the office, the office politicians and all that stuff. They can see in the door pretty quick.
So that's something, I mean, I think every office has drama, but I think the one good thing about, you know what, I'm just going to say it honestly, I kind of keep myself away from that. I'm at a place where I don't have to essentially listen to it. We have other people, other managers that will handle the day-to-day politics. I'm sure every office has it, right?
Yeah.
So I make it very clear that I don't want to know about it. And if I need to know about it, somebody's
Good.
somebody's either getting fired or, you know, something's going to happen, right? Otherwise, handle it yourself.
So what? No, obviously, handle yourself like an adult. I get that. Treat people kindly and with respect. I don't think we need to repeat that. But so, okay, so you're operating quick. You're able to pivot when you need to pivot.
Of course.
And you're going out there making sure the chemicals aren't oversupplied on location, stuff like that. So right now, coming into this Q4 2021 and everything going on, what's surprising you right now when it comes to operations? I mean, I know this casing shortage is a huge issue. People talk about labor. I understand the labor shortage. Labor shortage throughout the nation, but this casing issue is scary.
Dude, labor shortage, casing shortage,
What's the biggest
labor shortage.
labor shortage for you? Really?
I cannot find. This is a true story, and anybody who's listening who needs a job who's actually capable, we hired a guy, a superintendent in the field. I don't even want to disclose his salary.
Okay.
It was very high.
Okay.
I mean, very high.
Okay.
And like, even when I was like, oh, I'm fine, all right, let's pay it, I guess. He quit after a week because he got an offer that was $50,000 more than what we offered him. And we offered him, I'm just gonna say, we offered him $195,000. And I'm just like,
whoa,
you got a $250,000 offer
a week later.
a week, and this man, and I'm not joking. Nope, I mean, he was not worth. He wasn't worth $100,000. I was seeing his work, and I'm just like, I mean, when you're coming in at $200K, you better be.
Yeah,
You better be
prove
fucking,
yourself.
yeah,
You better prove
do
yourself.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm just sitting there kind of like, are you kidding me? And breaking CDL drivers, anybody, right? I just can't find decent people. I'm literally, to move rigs, to move like heavy equipment, I'm driving in guys from Kansas to come down here to move my stuff in South Texas.
Well, let me ask you a question. I've asked this a couple times. Obviously, people say more money, but to me, it doesn't sound like it's the money's the issue. It's the people wanting to work.
It's the people wanting to work. So we had a good crew. This is a perfect example. We had a good crew. They just left. As soon as you hit them with all right, you know what? You're gonna get a drug test, random drug test, right? That's just protocol.
And RDT.
And they're just like, yeah, sorry, we'll just quit. And I'm just like, all right, whatever, right?
I actually read a couple more ago that the drug screenings with new job applicants, I think they're kind of being more lax.
Sometimes you have to, right? So I mean, I've done this before. I haven't done this now because we have the zero tolerance. We have to have the zero tolerance policy. But before, like, what was it, 2000? Like right at like when it was like 2013. If you had like a marijuana charge, whatever, I don't give a shit. You had like an
Whatever,
assault.
small.
If you had an assault, like two guys got in a fight, I don't care. If it was anything beyond that, it was like no way. Now it's just we have a zero tolerance policy.
Yeah.
We just have to have that, right? Because we're not going to expose ourselves to people who are
risky.
risking. We've had the risky people work for
and
us.
that actually costs you a lot more than just kind of
Way more. I mean,
so
we've had a lot of that.
So what's going to bring people back to our industry? I mean, what's going to bring the CDL drivers, the pumpers, and stuff like that?
I think personally, and this is where I hate to get political, right? I just hate political.
Get there.
I don't like where everything is kind of headed from a perspective of the oil field is just this big, scary monster of a place where, if you work there, you have to focus on, you have to get paid 30 times more because of this, or you have to get paid because of this, or we're monsters and we're destroying the environment.
Yeah.
That is not the case. I mean, we do get a bad rep because sometimes we just don't care as much.
Providing any source of energy, I don't care if it's solar, I don't care if it's organic earth energy. That's a new term for fossil fuels, organic earth energy. You heard it here first.
Oh, I was about to say, is that a real term? I like that.
So I don't care if it's solar, I don't care if it's wind, I don't care if it's electric EVs, I don't care if it's it. There's no clean energy out there.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
Everything has a carbon footprint. I mean, to go carbon neutral, that's great. To go carbon negative, it doesn't exist right now.
Passing it off.
Yeah, I mean, I think where people need to start realizing is that we are an industry that's going to be around for a good amount of time, at least the next 50 years, right? While we're getting our feet off the ground of EVs, organic energy and all that other shit, I think it's great.
I do too.
I think it's fantastic. I love how we're trying to pivot our industry. However, having said all that, I don't like the fact that we're turning into the boogeyman for kind of what we are. So, I mean, if you get a guy who let's just say he's just a labor hand, right?
Right.
If he could go work on a solar farm, or if he could go work at another place, or if he could even go work in New Mexico, right? Where the operator is offering, if I'm offering same job, same everything, better hours, better everything, is getting offered for $45 an hour in New Mexico. They're going to $45 an hour, right? And I think right now we're getting this boom of the Delaware Basin, the Permian. They're taking all the good people, and the people who want to work are already over there. And we're kind of, all the other basins are kind of getting, I don't want to say the leftovers, but we're getting the guys who are just like, listen, go. Either the old school hardworking people, or the kind of the young ruffians who are paycheck to paycheck, who are, you don't know if they're going to be there next week once they get paid, right? So I think we just need to kind of take the stigma off the industry and, you know, allow people to kind of come and work there. Because, I mean, in Texas, oil is great, right? Nobody will ever bash oil. But actually, I don't want to say that. Go to Austin, people hate oil and gas. I mean, but as soon as you start going a little bit north, a little bit west, a little bit east, I mean,
I think it's,
people don't understand it.
The thing is that, look, if we could live in one of these, you know, utopian futures where there's flying cars and all that, so I get that. But here's the deal. As a world, let's say we would chain smoke and lucky strike unfiltered, all right, for 150 years, okay? Now suddenly everyone's like, oh, let's quit cold turkey. It's like, okay, well you're gonna be messed up. I mean, there's gonna be a huge shock to your system. Because if you're not even going to the, you're not even vaping, you're not even doing the little nicotine pouches, you're going straight cold turkey. There's gonna be a huge shock to the system that nobody really does want to go through. You know what I mean? Nobody in the world, in my opinion, nobody in the world really kind of wants to reduce their standards of living, not have the disposable income, not be able to heat their homes, cool their homes, fill up their car, whatever that looks like. Use your cell phone. Order get a coffee to go. Anything. There's a shock to the system that, look, there's a lot of virtues in it. When people think, like, oh yeah, I would love it too, but we're not there. And every source of energy, I don't care what it is, including some of the mines that are ripping out for the batteries and stuff, it's brutal. So let's stop this whole villainization of our industry and look at this as more as kind of, now you got Biden questioning, begging OPEC to turn the tax back on. It's like,
that'll fuck us another way.
I know.
I mean, I just wish that we could have some peace kind of coming, because in my opinion, you heard it here first, we're going to crash hard in the next 2 years.
What does that crash look like?
I think when I say crash, I think we're going to go below 50 again. I think we're going to level out between the 30s to 40s.
So is that 50? Is that going to make the supplies skyrocket?
I don't know. I really don't know. I wish I could say it's because of supply. I think it's going to be because of socioeconomic standards as well, because of, you know, however, what people are thinking. I hope to God I'm wrong. But the cycles in our crashes in the oil and gas industry used to be 8 to 10 years. Yeah. And now
like 8 months apart.
Exactly. You're 12 to 18 months. You're fucked, right? Like, look at us last year almost. We were at 38, 45. Yeah. And we were like, thank God we're here. And now we're at 82. I haven't checked it this morning, but we're at 82, and gas is at, I mean, it hit $6 2 weeks ago.
5.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and now we're just kind of looking at this, and I'm just like, you know what? I love kind of riding high while it happens, but let's not have a short-term memory where we're just like, you know what?
We're so good at that as an industry, having short-term memory.
The rig count is skyrocketing. Everybody makes money at $82. Exxon can drill a well.
Where's your sweet spot? Where would you want to see oil kind of hover between?
100. I'd be happy. I'd make me happy, but we can survive as an operator of our size between 40 to 45. We can survive there.
Okay.
We can live there. We can survive under that. Honestly, JP, if it came down to it, I mean, we're the definition of we'll do whatever it takes to survive, and if it goes down to 20, we'll survive there too.
What's worrisome to me is, I mean, you brought up the labor shortage. Obviously, everyone's talking about that. This casing issue that I've heard. First off, steel mills aren't, and I don't know the whole process, whole cycle, but what I do understand about it is steel mills aren't operating at full capacity. I think it's 1/3 the capacity. And now, if you don't have a I may be wrong, so apologies if I am, but apparently if you don't have like a couple rigs to pick up or this and that, like even if you want to drill a well or two and all that stuff, you won't be able to.
What happened was we had to drill a well in South Texas, and it was a lease, like we had to.
Yeah.
Or else we're going to lose an acre. So we're just like, listen, we made some calls, and every major rig company are just like, how many wells do you want to drill? And we're just like, well, we just got to drill this one well right now. And they're just like, yeah, no thanks.
You know what sucks? It's like, even when at a time when there's reduced activity, rig count is not where it should be to correlate with the price of oil and all that stuff. It's like, even if you want to give work out to one well,
Yeah.
2 wells, it's not. It's like it's a weird environment right now.
It is a very, very weird environment. But to go back to what you're saying about casing, so I'm going to even take it a step further from where we are. So we're a pretty large real estate company as well. And industrial real estate, the warehouses that actually make the casing, the tubing,
Yeah.
and the valves and all that stuff, industrial real estate. And the years that I've seen it, the brokers that we work with have been in the industry for 40 to 50 years. We have never seen industrial real estate selling the way it is right now. So, and it's because, and I'll give you a perfect example. I was looking at a warehouse on the north side of town, closer to the airport. And it was a warehouse that made tubing, casing, and valves.
Okay.
And it was huge. It was on like 12 acres, like 13 warehouses. And they were just like, we're selling this out right now. In a down market, in a regular market, that warehouse would have sold for $7-8 million,
Okay.
right? And with that warehouse, that they were selling the supplies and whatnot, they said, we'll sign a 12-year lease here. So we'll stay here for another 12 years. We'll get the income there. And because they're like, we can't keep up with it anymore. So we'll sign a 12-year lease here. That same property that should have sold for $5 to $8 million. I put a bid down for $7 million. The same property sold for $14.5 million with a 10-day closing. So it doubled and then some.
That's almost triple.
And I was sitting there and I was like, who paid for this? And now, looking at it, and this was about 8 months ago. And I'm looking at it 8 months later, and I'm just like, that wasn't that bad of a deal.
Oh, really?
And because that's where industrial is going. So if you have an industrial, like if you have something on the port over in the, not Galveston, the LaPorte area,
Yeah.
Houston, if you have an industrial warehouse authority there, you can get 25, 30 times cash flow for it. So imagine making $1 million a year there. You can, it's not far-fetched to expect $30 million.
You know what that sounds like? That kind of sounds like, 2015, 2016, 2017. You're seeing acre down in West Texas go, 25,000 and 44,000 an acre. These big industrial complexes being sold for 3 times what they're worth.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's going to be happening over on that side of that type of industry
Yeah.
too. It's like, 3-4 years from now, 5, I don't know, whenever I guess the demand isn't that high, they're not going to be able to sell it for $14 million.
No, they're not. And that's the thing, right? Like, it's, I'm interested to see what happens now because I think, they're making it so that industrial warehouses, like, people can buy them, right? And so these industrial warehouses, like, there's some on 290
Yeah.
and, like the 290, 610 area.
Yeah,
Like,
the
right
little
behind,
ones,
yeah, exactly. So there's, like, you can buy warehouses there that are just, like, empty. And people are buying them like this and trying to convert them and trying to get the tubing companies to come sign a lease there, and they're getting it, right? So what they're doing now is that they're coming to companies like us, real estate companies like us, they're saying, hey, listen, we're going to buy this for $10 million, but we already have Stewart and Stevenson, just throwing out a name, committing to a 10-year lease here, so you're going to make the money. So we already have the money all lined up. We just need
Somebody come in,
right? And we're just looking at it, we're just like, yeah, we'll get into that. So, I mean, it's so much like, it's starting from A, and I think in the process of where we're missing it, like we need the casing and tubing and stuff like that, is at like P. And I think once it gets to Z, it's just, forget about it. I mean,
Really?
it's going to be, I think it's going to be nuts, man. What's happening in the industry? I think we're going to have, I think we should enjoy it for the next 6 to 8 months. I hope it's a cold winter and we get gas prices that go up. And I think it will.
Yeah.
Farmer's Almanac said it's going to be a cold ass winter.
That's what Keith Seltzer said yesterday. The Farmer's Almanac says it's colder than last year.
Hey, man, I don't know if I can handle another February freeze of what happened last year, man.
That was a nightmare.
That was a nightmare. So my dad's house had a generator, so we were fine. But our office building, pipes bursted, flooded out. I mean, to this day, we're still fixing it. We're still fixing it. And that freeze in Texas, because it happened all across Texas, it was the biggest natural disaster for insurance claims in the U.S. history. Because it happened all across Texas. So there was about $2 trillion worth of insurance claims across Texas.
I know that.
Biggest in U.S. history. So that was, I didn't even believe that. And just our building right there, we flooded out our basement, our first floor, and it was a few $1 million. And, I mean, it was bad.
So pretty much enjoy the next 6 to 8 months, because after that, but that's the thing though, it's like,
I hope I'm wrong.
you would expect our industry to be having a great time right now. You'd expect our industry to be thriving, blowing and going, and we're
getting there, man.
We're getting there, but then again, you come to the hard reality of personnel. You come to the hard reality of casing. You come to the hard this reality where people want to operate and they can't.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, that's just kind of a weird environment, atmosphere to be in.
So the guys, this is the way I'll put it, right? It's kind of, it's not what you know, it's who you know right now. I think the people,
Not what you know, but who you know.
if only I had a guy
If only there was somebody out there
that could get me connected to
gets-
the right people.
that understands that concept.
Oh, right
It is
there.
true. It is true.
It is so true. So, I mean, guys like us, I'll give you a perfect example. When we needed a rig, we needed a crew, we needed all that stuff, it was a simple, we knew who to call. We were just like, listen, this is what we need. Can you make it happen? The right guy put it together, and he gave
Because
us
of relationships.
And because of the relationship. If you're a newer operator and you don't have that, frankly, that little black book, that somebody like you would have, that somebody like the people who everybody across the industry has, you're not getting work. You're not connecting to the right people. So we were able to do that because of we've been doing this for 40 years.
Yeah.
But if you're just a new guy in the private equity industry, the only way to do that is you have to spend more money than a normal
You got to
person.
do a premium.
Exactly. You have to pay that premium to kind of get it, or you either have to know the right people, right? And that's frankly, that's across the board in anything I'm seeing. Like even right now, dude, like the car market. I'll give you a perfect example. They cannot keep inventory. A good friend of mine, he called me the other day. Very, very good. I mean, extremely wealthy guy.
Yeah.
Extremely wealthy. He called me and he just said, hey, listen, I need to buy this car. It was $900,000. He said, but they won't sell it to me.
Sounds used.
It was brand new.
It sounds used.
Yeah.
But what's the gas mileage on a $900,000 car? Am I right?
You know what he said to me? He just said, the dealer won't sell it to me. And I just said, why? And he says, they're telling me to buy like 1 or 2 more cars. Which this wasn't it was a very special car, but it wasn't that special.
Right.
And he's just like, hey, I know you know the dealer. Can you like call the guy? And I'm just like, yeah, sure. So I call the guy up, and I'm just like, hey, he's good for the money. He'll cut. Like, I mean, he's gonna finance it, but he's gonna drop like a $400,000. And they're just like, dude, that's on us. We have like 500 people bidding on it, and they're coming in with cash. So we're just saying like, you know, if you want this car, we're just playing the market for this. My car that I just bought right now, I had to fight like 5 other people to get that car. And my car's special too. And I was like, this car is, and my car's used. It had 1,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And I paid over $100,000 premium with 100,000.
Just because inventory and all.
You cannot keep inventory. Like the Ferrari, you see guys over here. Like I told them, like I know the guy well. Shout out Ferrari. I get good. I would say I get good customer service out of it.
Right.
And I was like, hey, listen, I want to buy this car. Just whatever you got, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And he's just like, LOL, sorry, dude. He's like, maybe in 2023 I can get you one. I'm like, what?
Dude, that's happening. Like, what's scary about that? That's happening from whether it's homes, whether it's cars, whether it's this. I mean,
it's the economy, which is, I don't know. I mean, some people say it's booming. Some people say that it's hurting. I don't know. It depends who you ask, right? And I'm just. But the thing is that it's very, in my opinion, myself included, I think it's really tone deaf for a guy like me who's buying, you know, Ferraris and stuff like that. To be like, oh shucks, I had to pay this much over. I know what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there who don't have the luxuries that you and I have, right? Or that anybody has, right? And they're just like, listen, we're trying to just get by on this and this and this and that.
we're trying to find a house to live in.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
right? And there's, and you know what you were mentioning when you're renting. I think it's a really fucking good idea right now. If I could go back. I mean, I like having equity in my house and this and that. I would probably rent.
Look, man, here's the deal. Like, I was thinking about that, and, man, it's just like, I kind of like it because you get to experience a new part of Houston every, 3 years. Don't get me wrong, I hate moving. Moving sucks.
I hate moving too.
And if I had a chance, I'd buy and design a house, but I'm not in that situation right now. You know what I mean? So I don't mind renting it. And here's the deal. What happens when Evelyn gets to a certain age where she's not hanging out? Like, who knows? We might want to do high-rise living. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
we can experience different parts of Houston.
Yeah. You know what? High-rise living, me and my wife were talking about it. Our kid's 2 years old. We're still probably far away from
Yes.
it. Or, like, when we're empty nesters, I'm just like, let's sell this.
Why not?
shit, and let's go live in a condo and not worry about anything. And it's, so I know guys, personally, like, who are empty nesters, who are still, like, I mean, they're, like, mid-50s, kind of, but they're very successful. They have great works, great jobs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Lawyers, like doctors, and they're just like, we're empty nesters now. We're selling, dude. Like where I live, like there's a few guys who are like, we're selling. We're gonna go live, at the Hanover over there, and you know what? Go to the restaurants every night, try new stuff.
Yes.
I would tell you, dude. Like everybody's changing now. Like 55, once upon a time was old.
Yeah.
And now 55 is pretty young.
It really is.
I mean, I knew
You're starting to see people kind of enjoy their lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And that kind of goes back to, I would say, it kind of circles back into the economy and the industry. There's guys that I know now. Dude, my dad is one of them. I will tell you this: my dad was the most conservative man I've ever met. Like, he wouldn't buy. I will never forget this. This is a true story. He bought a Maybach in 2005 when they were like, you had to get a custom ordered in Germany. Like in 2005, he bought this car. It was a lot of money at that time. And he bought it. He drove it for 80 miles. It had 80 miles on the odometer. And he just said, I hate this car. It gets so much attention. He said, I will never park in the garage and sat there for 12 years. It literally sat there.
80 miles.
80 miles. It had 82 miles on the odometer. And then Hurricane Harvey flooded it out. And then my dad kind of goes through this. And he's had like major life experiences. My mom had Parkinson's. And now he's kind of at a place right now where he's like, you know what? I want to enjoy my life.
Yeah.
I spent my whole life building this empire, and he did. He really did. He was a workaholic.
Well, I mean, you told me that he came over and $30 in his pocket.
It was literally $30 in his pocket, and he would tell me like stories where like he just like literally he wouldn't eat for a few days because he was like, I didn't have the money to eat. So he's just like, I just kept working. Kept working, and now that same man is now, I would say, for the first time in his life, 69 years old. He's enjoying the fruits of his labor. Like he's traveling, he's buying new and exciting toys. I mean, he's trying to enjoy himself. And he's like, well, why not? And he's 69 years old. JP, you wouldn't tell for a second he's like 69. He exercises every day. He's always moving. And he's like, you know what? And you would never. Nobody's ever said like. My friends that came over and he's like sitting in my house and was like, is that your friend? And I'm just like, that's my dad. And he looks frankly great. I would say like there's a shift now, right? Of people that are getting older people in the industry are starting to enjoy themselves more. And he has like one of his neighbors is a very, very famous oil and gas family. Like $1 billion family, right? And the father, the son, I'm not gonna name the name of who they are. The son is an absolute shit. I mean, that's the nicest way to put it. Gets drunk way too often, parties way too hard. The dad won't let him work for his company. This is a major $1 billion oil and gas company. And I met the father, just in passing. Neighbors said hi. And he was just kind of like, man, I might as well enjoy my life now because my kids are fuck-ups. So I'm just going to give my company to a board of directors, and they're going to run it. And my kids will have a job, and they'll be set for the rest of their lives. And
that suck, though.
Dude, it really pissed me off because I talked to the kid, and he said, and it made a lot of sense, but also really pissed me off because I come from
you're a different person.
Exactly. And he was just like, it's really hard to care when you were raised in a $30 million house. And I'm just like, yeah, dude, don't you want to? I'm like, your dad has this, like, you could take it to the next level. Like, you have everything.
There might not be that drive, though, to do it.
He doesn't. He's open like that, though.
And he's fine with it. He's fine living the life of a playboy.
But he's very much not a playboy.
Well,
that's
I said the life of a playboy.
Life of a playboy. I mean, he gets taken advantage of, stuff like that. Like, like to a point where I'm just like, listen, bud, you can't
They'll
do
invite
that.
him to dinner for him to pick up the tab, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I mean, so they went to the rodeo cook-off like beforehand. They have a huge tent because it's a big major oil and gas company, and they get to park. I don't know if you've been to the cookout. They get to park on the grounds, right?
Yeah.
And he gave me his parking pass, and I went with him. And he was like, so I was gonna drive, and I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna drive. Like, let's Uber because, like, you know, I'm not gonna drive without it. Like, you know, it's the cook-off, right? So he gets there, and I mean, this guy's absolutely just stumbling.
Right.
And I'm like, I felt bad for him because he was, people like you said, were definitely taking advantage of him. And I've asked him about it afterwards, and he's just like, dude, he's like, I don't care. He's like, literally, I just don't care. And it's almost sad to see because I'm just like,
there's
come on,
a
dude.
difference between not caring, like the I don't give a shit people think of me attitude versus like giving up.
But you know what? I think it's a lot of, he kind of, you know, a sense of vulnerability, which I've seen this through the extremely wealthy to the guys who are just trying to make themselves out of nothing, right? Is he's just like, I'm just a big disappointment, anxiety, depression, all that fun stuff, which, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I've suffered through all of it, right?
I mean, dude, I was just having that conversation before you showed up. I mean, it's that's a real thing, dude. That I think more people need to be talked about. I mean, especially this day.
Dude, and I felt bad for the guy, but I also see guys who are like, they've come from nothing, and they're just like, dude, we're anxious and depressed because we don't know if we're going to be able to afford rent by the end of the month.
Yeah.
And there's other guys who are anxious and depressed because, you know, daddy gave them $100 million. And I'm just like, come on, guys. Like if you give it a voice and you talk about it, everybody's pain is different. Actually, Roby taught me that. He actually mentioned that to me. And I'm like, I told him, like, I have a very hard time with that. Because I'm like, why should my pain matter when I've been given, frankly, everything?
Well, I mean, I disagree. I mean, just because people look, you know, like things are going good, everything's going great, they're happy, Robin Williams happy, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, but that's the thing though. Like, I remember I made a post, and I've talked about this before. I did a post and made a couple people, and someone commented very negative about that. Like, oh, glad to see you're making. We're all struggling. I commented back. I'm like, man, I'm struggling too. I'm dealing with my own personal demons, my own self-doubt, my own anxiety, my own negative thoughts and all that stuff. So, but I'm choosing to kind of share happiness, connections, and joy.
First of all, if you're listening, fuck that guy.
No, but I talked to him. Great person. Great guy.
All right,
Great guy.
okay.
And I kind of chatted with him, kind of walked him through. Like, hey man, I'm seeing your stuff. You're pretty negative. You're talking shit to companies that you want to work for.
Yeah.
Like, you got to change what you project, but also talk about what you're feeling, what you're feeling with like internally.
Dude, so I've recently tried to get better at that because I grew up. I mean, my dad, like I said, he built this empire out of nothing, right? And he's got a very hard, strong immigrant mentality of work, right? And he put that in me, and I have that kind of same drive. And I would say, frankly, all of his kids kind of have that similar kind of drive and stuff like that. And it's just been one of those things where I just never gave it a push, right? I would bottle everything up,
Just shove it down.
and then during COVID, I would go through these bouts of depression.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know it was depression at the time. I would be so down. I'd be looking at my newborn son, and I would just be like, and you'd be laughing, and I'd be like, I don't feel like I'm
You're
doing
neutral.
it. Yeah, and I'm just like, and then I started getting sad, and then anxiety started kicking in.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't recognize that was anxiety. And then when I gave it a voice, when I started talking to people about it, everybody, unanimously, everybody could put up the, we're okay, just shut up, man up, and get through it. But if you talk to them here, it's like, listen, dude, that's great for you. I'm not okay with it. I need to kind of feel better and do better.
I'm waking up at 2 a.m. in the night. I can't sleep. Nothing's exciting. I wake up thinking about 1,500 things I have to do today, and that's what's against me.
I was sad all the time, and I'm not a sad person.
No.
I'm a happy guy. I was sad all the time. I was angry. I just wasn't in a good place in my life.
Well, I gotta say, first off, I respect the fact you're talking about it. So, besides putting a voice to it and actually having conversations, because I find I'm the same way. I like venting. I like talking about my problems. I like talking about my issues. You know what I mean? To my circles. But besides putting a voice to it, what else do you do to kind of deal with, I guess, the depression, the negative thoughts?
I did a lot. So I've done a lot of different things to number one thing that really actually, like, honestly, it's kind of stupid, but working out really like got that shit out of me.
Yeah.
Where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go lift a bunch of weights and this and that. Dude, I grew up playing sports, right? Like I went to school on a sports hall.
Dude, that matters,
like,
man.
I did all this stuff, so I was like, you know what? And one of my buddies who I played football with was like, he's still like, I mean, fantastic shape, like just jacked as hell, successful, and he's like, Yousuf, he's always like, just come work out with me.
Yeah.
And I went and I worked out with him, and I kicked my ass.
Dude, I'll tell you one thing right now. Like, I remember before COVID, I was working out, 4 times a week. I was getting into it. I'm not, and then like through COVID, like I just stopped working out. I'm like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm not worrying. I got a new wife. I ain't got to stay in shape.
Sure, yeah. I was there, dude.
But then it kind of got to a point where I just started kind of like getting
Complacent.
Well, complacent. I never worked out at home, and I'm not saying like I want a physique like Brad Pitt in Fight Club.
Oh,
but
God, he's so good looking.
So good looking in that. But anyway, the thing is though is like I just don't feel good. You know what I mean? I don't feel good. So about 3 weeks ago, Monica and I, we just rejoined LA Fitness. I'm getting back in there, and don't get me wrong, I got back in there. I mean, the weakest. Dude, I'm hitting like 2 plates on like the machines. Like 2 plates. I'm like, but the thing is though,
start somewhere, baby.
but at the same time, I don't care. It's like I need to start something. I need to get back into so working out's good for me. Another thing I do, I had a conversation with Jason Arsenault with Arc Energy on my podcast. I talked to Roby about this. I talked to a lot of people about this. Like, I will set my alarm every morning at 5 a.m., wake up, even if I'm tired of this, have a cup of coffee, won't look at my phone, and I will seriously do a guided meditation, or I will do a meditation and just kind of unplug, because if I don't do that, I will seriously, it's like 2 p.m. that afternoon, I'm not worth it, like, I'm not doing good when I'm not adding value, no one likes me, I'm not going to pull this off. But if I get my mind right, and I don't let those things stick to me in the morning, I am much better off, and I'm easier when something negative does happen to me, to not let that stick and bounce it off. Look, negative things happen throughout our day, non-stop. It's a question, A, if you focus on them, if you let that stick with you. For example, you get home today, you pissed at your wife, what happened? I was late. Well, late for what? I was late for that awesome show, Breakfast Run, the best show out there, and all this, the best live streaming show out there. Well, honey, that happened 10 hours ago. Why is that still bothering me? You know what I mean? Like, so when I do meditate on stuff consecutively,
I need to get.
Try it, man.
I can't. So I've never been able to sit at one place, not look at my phone, or not do something, dude. And I would say like maybe it's the coffee. I don't know what it. But I want to actually start meditating.
Try it.
So I want to actually start doing yoga. So I did yoga at one. So when I was playing, one of the things that we had to do was once a week we had to go do yoga, and it helps so much.
Oh, it does.
Flexibility, all this other mind
But it
bullshit.
cools you down.
Yeah, dude. I really want to start doing that shit again.
Well, it's a meditation process for the body, and like Monica is really into yoga, and I started getting into it the past probably a year now.
Dude, I need to get back into yoga. Another thing, like you're mentioning, giving yourself grace. That's another thing. I'm not good at it yet. I'm trying. I'm absolutely. This is something I deal with every single day. I'm the exact same as you. But my kind of questions are like, I'm like, why me? Why was I given so much? Why am I put in a position where I'm allowed to, at this age, run this company?
Yeah.
Why am I allowed to do this? Why am I allowed to do this? Why me? I'm not worthy of this.
Yeah.
I'm just some stupid kid, right? I'm just this. And then when I kind of look at it, and then I try to kind of give myself grace, and I'm just like, listen, Yousuf, you've accomplished so much. You're a hardworking guy. You're this, you're that. It's hard to give myself grace, but it's something I work on every day. Because I have that exact
I think that is so crucial to discuss, and grace and kindness to yourself, because it's true, like, like,
I'm not nice to myself.
well, that's what I'm saying, like, being kind to yourself, like,
It's hard.
yeah, look, you go to the gym for 6 months, and you feel like you haven't gone anywhere, be kind to yourself, man, take it easy, you know what I mean, like, this didn't go as well as planned, but I'll usually have dialogue in my mind, like, if something like upsets me or pisses me off, or I don't think I'm good at something, I'll be like, wait, time out, JP. You've got a beautiful wife, you've got an awesome daughter, you have awesome friends, you have a great, it's like, it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where I have to identify that. The key is, I think, identifying when something kind of starts creeping into negative thoughts, and really just kind of addressing those.
Giving it a voice.
Giving it a voice.
I absolutely
And also,
do that.
not giving it power, you know?
I I'm still not good at not giving it power because you know what? I will go through days where, like you said, I'll be like, you know what? No, fuck that. You are better than this. You are this.
Yeah.
You are this. You are this. There's other days where it'll beat me down where I'm just like, nah, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not this. You're not that. You're a fake. You're an imposter.
That's like some weeks you feel like everything's going for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, this person's picking up the phone. I got this coming up. I'm setting this up. Oh, this is a great deal or execution, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's some weeks where it's like, I lost it. I lost my mojo. Like, I'm not gonna get it back. No one digs what I'm doing. I can't do this deal. This deal fell to like this, and then it's just weird how it ebbs and flows.
Ebbs and flows, dude. Ebbs and flows. I think if we learn to, as adult males who are in this industry of macho-ness and this and that, everybody in this industry, I will make a fucking $1 million bet. Everybody in this industry has some sort of depression, anxiety, or something where they don't feel good enough, where they don't feel or are having. If everybody says they're having a great day every day, they're just fucking lying. And if they're just like, if their motto is like, just shut up, man up, and you'll get through it, good for them, right? But you give it a voice, I bet you'll feel better.
Well, you man up and get through it. I mean, that leads out in your other lives, whether it's relationships with your spouse, relationships with your friends, or honestly, even the best of your body, whether it's cancer or something like that, stroke, stress.
I've seen it happen to
Well,
so many people.
another thing, too, is also, stop comparing yourself to people. You know what I mean? The comparison culture is real.
Dude, I think I talked about this with one of my good friends. I'm not a jealous guy. I want everyone.
Yeah.
I want 1,000 blossoms to bloom. Right. That's how I feel. Me and my good buddy, really good friend. Like I mean, me and him were tight.
Yeah.
Like, we would go get kicked out of the bar together. That's kind of the good buddy I was talking about, right? Me and you. Me and him were talking to a car dealership. We both wanted this car. They both said, "Nah, man. It was a very special edition car. You don't get it, right? Y'all don't buy enough. Y'all don't do this." We're just like, "Oh, fuck you, whatever," right? We're just like, "No, we'll get it next time around, right? We'll do this. We're just kind of talking to each other." I'm on social media. He posted a picture of that car that came in. He never told me about it. He never did this. And I was 99.9% of the time, I would have been my car. Fuck yeah, you got it, dude. I'm like, we gotta go take it for a spin. Let's go to the track. Let's go do something. And that day when I saw it, I was just like, how did that motherfucker get me? I did it.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is that a comparison thing? Is that more like, dude, I wish you would have told me the
I think
transparency?
I think it was a comparison thing because me and him talked about it afterwards because I gave it a voice. I was just like, you know, that really pissed me off. Why didn't you tell me? I'm like, you could have told me. I'm like, you think I would have been upset? Like, if you would have got. He said, dude, I thought you were going to be mad at me. I thought you were going to be jealous. And I'm just like, I'm not going to lie. When I saw it on social media, I was jealous. It made me one of my really good friends, a person that I cared about. It made me not like it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? At that moment, about a day later, I deleted Instagram. Because I was like, if this can make me feel this way.
Mess you up for that day.
Yeah, if this can make me feel this way about somebody that I care about, no way.
Right.
And this is a thief, like, comparison is a thief of joy. And I talked about it later. And he was just like, dude, he's like, it just came up. He's just like, they gave it to me. I bought my wife a car, and I bought like another car, and they were just like, all right, we'll give it to you. And he's like, and I felt bad. And he apologized to me about it. I'm like, what are you sorry to me about?
So what do you do when you find yourself, so for example, what do you do when you find yourself start comparison, or you're like, oh, I don't have this yet, or they got this, and how do you, I guess, walk yourself through that?
For me, it just starts with being like, listen, you're comparing yourself to somebody from a different place in your life. Look at all that you have. Be thankful for the things that matter, right?
And what matters? What matters?
My wife,
Yep.
my family, my kid, doing stuff that I love.
Yes.
The things, dude, the cars, the all the other bullshit, I don't give a flying fuck about it.
Right.
If I'm being honest, like, I love it, it's great. That doesn't make me who I am. What makes me who I am is having a loving wife.
Yeah.
Having a place where I can go home, where I go home every day and I'm happy. I can see my son smiling and running around. I can see my wife being happy. I can see all these things, right? I have a family. I have my parents. I have my siblings. I have people I care about, right? I have guys like you. I have guys like Donnie, Steph. I have people that I genuinely care about. And I'm just like, I have everything. What else do I fucking need?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I have the people that I need in my life because I'm a very big, like, I know a lot of people, and I don't know if you're like this or not. I know thousands of people.
I know
I would
probably
say
more than that.
You probably know more than me. But I probably have like 10 people that I would go to a bar with and I'd shut them down. I thought about how long I've known them, it's about the time I spend with them, right? Like, what were you saying? We probably met like 3 times before me and you.
4 or 5. That's
Yeah.
it.
And
Less than 6.
dude, exactly. And we had, I mean, I felt like I was with an old friend. I
Yeah.
felt like I was with an old friend. And I mean, it's stuff like that that makes me, it reminds myself that you are in a position where you have people that care about you. You care about people. That fucking all that.
Another thing too that I found out, starting this, connection crew and all that stuff, like I'm always shooting for that oh, I just want to get it here. Oh, I want to get it here. I wish I was there today, but it's I was thinking about this yesterday driving home, and I was thinking, I was like, wait a minute, JK, trust the process. Exactly. Enjoy the dance. Enjoy the game that's being played, and just look, enjoy the steps in every day, whether it's a struggle, whether it's a success, whether it's this and that, because, man, at the end of the day, I got a roof over my head, I got a beautiful, loving wife, an awesome bonus mom to our daughter, great friends. It's like, man, if you're upset, pissed off because you're not where you want to be in 4 years where you're at today, and you have all this around you, it can get a lot worse, a lot quicker. So enjoy the dance, enjoy the process. I got a roof over my head, I got a fridge full of groceries. It's just like, stop. Yeah, just the whole gratitude side of things.
I think that is so important. Like, be appreciative for what you have right now. Like, but you know what? Having said that, I don't want to take away from like having goals. Like, so I have this I have a young son, and I'm afraid that he's going to be raised a little bit of a spoiled brat. So I always tell myself this, right? Is I mean, I want him to be good at sport. I want him to do the stuff like I truly believe this, right? And maybe this is far-fetched.
Yeah.
I truly believe that from a young age, if I was coached properly, I'd be playing at a higher level of any sport that I was playing at, right? And I'm like, and I had everything I needed. I just didn't have
the looks, you had the talent,
I had the looks,
you
I
had
had
the
the
speed.
I was fast as shit. And I'm like, you know what? If I can give Bear that, that's what I want. I want to give him stuff like that. I want to have expectations out of him, but I also don't want to put I don't want to have these expectations where I'm like, if you're not perfect, then I'm not going to love you. You're not worthy.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Like, it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's what we're teaching. That's what Monica and I are teaching Evan. It's like, you're human. I expect you to make mistakes.
Exactly, man.
It's okay.
It's a tough process, man. I think if we can, as humans, as adults, as anybody, man, guys in the oil and gas industry, people who are from an entrepreneurial setting, we can show that the world can give. If you can give grace and get grace, well, it's gonna be a better place, dude.
And also, go back to the kids thing with Evelyn and Bear and all that stuff. Like, I expect you to make mistakes. It's not a question of making a mistake. Number one, just be honest about it. Because if you're honest, I will never get mad at you. The second thing is, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you learned from it. You know what I mean?
I'm a big believer in honesty. So I realized this at an earlier part of my life when I was a bit more cavalier with my personal endeavors. I was
waiting for you.
Yeah, I was a fantastic liar. I was really good at compartmentalizing this relationship to that relationship, whatever, right? And I would just lie about everything. And now I realize as I've gotten older and I'm in a loving marriage and I'm happy.
So much easier to tell the truth.
I just tell the truth about everything, even about like stuff like like showing up late today. I'm just, instead of being like, I was on this before, I would have been like, I was on this call with the fucking mayor and I couldn't get off of it. Now I'm just like, yeah, dude, I slept in. I mean, it's just so much easier not to lie because, and I just
also if you come across honest, whether it's a mistake or whether it's sleeping in, whatever it is, that builds rapport, that builds trust. Like, okay, well, he was late, but at least tell me why he's late. Versus some bogus like, oh really, the mayor? Really? Okay.
Dude, it's stuff like that. Like even at the office, there's a lot of people where I think my employees as well is that from a board perspective, if there's a great idea. It's a pitch from me or it's given to me because I'm the one talking to these guys. And I'm just like, this is what and they're just like, that's a fantastic idea. I can't believe you got this done or this done or this done. I'm very open to I'm like, thank you, but frankly, he did the job.
That's the best way to do it.
And I'm like, I just got to push it through and he got it done. And giving the people the recognition that they deserve, dude, I never realized how much that means to certain people or how much further that gets you in life, frankly.
I will work harder for recognition. You know what I mean? Like, if someone says, hey, Attaboy. Good job,
Yeah.
JP. You did really. Oh shit, yeah. Like I'm in. Let's do this. Like that motivated me a lot more.
Oh yeah, dude. Because that's happened to me before. And this guy was talking to me about it. We had done this. My first major deal that I'd done maybe in like 2017, 2018, and it was like me and the guy that got the deal done. He was just like, so I have a problem whenever I do the deal. Take two shots of tequila, right?
What kind of tequila?
It was nice tequila. But I hate tequila, right? And he took one shot with me, just me and him. And I was in his office and we were talking. And then I'm just like, listen, dude. And he agreed with me. It's just like, I'm like, I definitely didn't do this deal on my own. And my guy was sitting in the conference room, and I'm like, I'm gonna bring him in here. And I'm like, let's do a shot together, right? And he told me later on, he's just like,
that's a big deal.
He was just like, do you know how much that meant to me? He's like, and I'm just like, hey, man. And I was like, to all the people who really got the deal done. And me and him, me and him were just fucking babies yelling at each other, fighting over the details. But you guys are the ones that actually got shit done. And everybody was so happy. And I didn't realize it. I just thought I was giving recognition to people who deserve it. And my guy on my team was like, that was probably one of the better ones working with.
So that's a great point. So the thing what I dig about what you just said is like, just because you're an understanding person, like, okay, it wasn't just me, it was I think, it's so easy for people to start criticizing people. Like, oh, you're doing this wrong. Oh, you should have done this better. You should have done this better. I love how you're communicating like, hey, you're doing this right. And start praising people. You know what I mean? Start telling people that they're doing a good job in certain areas, certain aspects of it.
Yeah, and because then when you were like, hey, man, can you pick it up here? Or can you do this thing?
They'll
always listen. They're just like, you know what, you're right. It's happened, and dude, it's happened many times. Like one of my right-hand guys in the office, when I get mad, I will unpress him. I will yell, scream. Yeah. Oh,
probably Arnie and Entourage.
Yeah. Oh, I'm like that, and I'm like, you scumbag motherfucker. I will unpress him. Yeah, I've thrown a chair. I was just like, how did you not know this? Yada yada. It was a blunder, right? And then he comes back in my office about a day later, and he just unloads on me. And and I'm just sitting there and I'm listening to it, and I'm just like, are you done? And he was like, he told me afterwards, and I'm just like, now go cool down and let's talk about this later. And he told me afterwards, he's like, the simple fact that I was able to do that with you, he's like, I shouldn't have done that. He's like, but the simple fact I was able to do that with you, it makes me feel like we actually have a relationship. Yes. And now when I ask him to do something, he's like, all right, done.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
I dig that.
And me and him have that relationship. And there's many times where I used to be, early in my career, I was a psychopath. My goal was, I was like, I'll kill you and I'll drink your blood and eat your heart. That's how it was. And that's how I was taught. Like, my dad was like, eat or be eaten, right? Now in my career, I'm just like, listen, be kind. But every once in a while, you gotta let people know, don't take the kindness as weakness.
What's great about that is like, people start their career and they want to be one way in their career. But I was talking to Roby about this last Friday. It's awesome seeing people, I guess, evolve in not just their life, but also in how they are in their career. You know what I mean? Like, they change from the whole, I'm gonna bark at you, I'm gonna chew your ass out and all that stuff, to kind of treat people with kindness, treat them with respect, and then that's where it goes. So I know we're coming up on about an hour and 30 minutes in here, so thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And first off, you got anything to plug?
You know what, dude? Honestly, we need workers. No, I mean,
that's a great question.
Oil Money Podcast.
So Oil Money Podcast with co-host Donnie Davis. Actually, Donnie Davis is the main host, and he's the co-host that kind of stepped in later in the process.
I'm the producer now, to be honest.
So,
I'm making a host.
I was going to say something. So, anybody out there? So actually, how can anybody out there who's tuning in and all that stuff listen? I mean, you mentioned labor. What else? We got someone just brought something up about Trades LLC would be more than happy to help you with that staffing shortage. So how can people help you out, I guess, that are tuning in right now, whether it's, I'm not saying like service or anything, but like, how can people help?
The best way to reach out to me, dude, is LinkedIn, because I actually read all those messages. Just Yousuf Chaudhary on LinkedIn, reach out to me. I'm always down to meet new people, talk to new people, because you never know. Some of the best deals I've done, JP, were with people that I'm just like, what is this guy going to ever do for me? And ever since
the Morton Steakhouse story?
The Morton Steakhouse, you know that story.
I know, I listen to podcasts.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Ever since then, I will talk to whoever, right? As long as I'll cut it
Yeah, I
short.
get it.
Yeah. But in general, that's the best way to reach me. I'm always down to talk to people and meet new people, kind of like yourself. And I mean, kind of like what I was talking about. What you're doing, dude, is perfect. Connecting people through industry, because there's a lot of things, dude, that people just don't.
Well, dude, the main thing is, honestly, it's like it's the operators that I'm trying to focus on right now, because the operators networks, like they work with their groups and they have their vendors, and that's their bubble. Or they might have gone to school. I went to school with Yousuf and all this. But man, I think there's a huge opportunity, because that's where deals are made. That's where friendships are made.
Absolutely.
That's where, let's say your company gets wrapped up and there's, actually, Yousuf's operating in a place I use. I'm going to talk to him. Like, the networks need to be built on the operator, but I get why they're not, because jump in the water if you go to like a open bar happy hour. You know what I mean? And that's why nobody wants to go. That's why nobody wants to go. So that's kind of, I'm like, I really do want to help build connections. So I don't feel like I'm selling any snake oil bullshit. It's a real need in our industry that is
100%.
It's good for the operators. It's good for the service side. It's good for private equity. It's good for everybody.
Absolutely.
And right now, you're right. It's not who you know. It's not what you know, but it's who you know.
Absolutely. Dude, there's so many times, like, I'm telling you right now, it was a matter of, I had to get somebody on the phone that I was just like, listen, this is what I need, make it happen. We're like, all right, we got you. And it was just one of those things. It's about who you know, because right now, and I think it's always going to be about who you know.
Yeah, I think it will. It's always been that way. So
always that.
Let's open this up if anyone's tuning in right now. Really digging the end of this podcast. Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate you tuning in. All right. He said, "What's up, fellas? Really digging the end of this live, authentic." And then Austin Lewis says, "What's the cross streets?" I think it's like 610 in Richmond, right here, right across from Bayou City Seafood.
Fantastic coffee. I can honestly say this. I'm a coffee connoisseur. There's a lot of coffee shops that I don't even go to anymore that have good beans, that don't have good beans anymore. This is fantastic coffee. Probably top three coffee, top 3 coffees in Houston.
I dig that. Okay.
Top 3 coffees in Houston.
Number one to most people, but I like this guy. He's kind of edgy. I dig it. Then we got John Renfro chiming in saying, a great reminder about gratitude. Think about where you were a year ago versus right now. Probably pretty good. And if things are rougher, hopefully it's you can look back on it as look how far you've came. So thank you everyone for tuning in to Breakfast with JP. Yousuf, I want to thank you.
Thank you, brother.
And I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in. And we'll talk to you all soon.
Love you guys.
Love you all.
Kisses.